And welcome back to the Financially Simple Experience. So friends, today we're going to talk through this idea of improving the growth rate of our company by connecting our marketing and sales strategies. Or you could say we're going to improve the growth rate of our company by connecting the marketing department with the sales department, or the marketing team with the sales team, depending on the size of your company. Now, over the last few weeks, we spent a lot of time talking through the sales process. We've looked at, hey, how do you identify who your perfect client is? How do you fire a client? How do you remove yourself as in the owner position as the top producer in your firm, and so on? We spent a lot of time over the last few episodes talking about sales, but we spent very little time talking about marketing. So now we want to enter in this idea of marketing. So before we enter in marketing, let's talk about what is marketing. Now, obviously, there's a technical definition. You've read it before in the past. I've spoken about it in the past. But today I want to give you my common sense, financially simple interpretation or definition for marketing. And it is this. Marketing is the activity which creates a sales call or turns a client into a raving fan. So you're spending dollars on something external or internal, which is going to lead to a potential for you to have a sales call with a new customer, or your clients become raving fans, which you turn around and refer their friends, family, etc. to you. That's marketing. Oftentimes when I'm talking to business owners, marketing is perplexing to us, especially those of us in the financial world, because we're used to looking at concrete scientific formulas that we know if we have $1, it's going to be equal to $1. If we have $1 and we get a 10% return, it's $1.10. We can calculate these things, but marketing, my goodness, is kind of like this figment. It's almost like a black hole. It's mysterious to us. Many times it feels like a black hole. As we pour dollars into something, it's like, oop, there it goes. It's gone. We can't see it again. And so for us as business owners, the pain point for marketing is we don't know the ROI on our dollars. Is it working? It's hard to quantify. Yet we'll say things like, I'm not getting enough qualified leads, or I have some attrition in my client base. Or, as I run a cost benefit analysis or a time monetary analysis here, I'm not seeing the value in what I'm spending in marketing. Regardless of what we're looking at through our lens or through the prism where we're looking at in our business, the fact is the same, that we are striving for an 8-figure exit. We're striving for an 8-figure exit so that we can leave our customers and our employees in a better position than they are today. We want to also reap the reward for all the years of turmoil and struggle and all the risk we've taken. We want to receive that at some point in our life. When it boils down to, as my days say, the brass tacks, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of the conversation, the cookies and cream, whatever your analogy is in your parts of the world, when we get down to it, what we're ultimately after when we talk about marketing is we want to get more leads. We want to have qualified people show up. And then we want to close more leads. And then we want to increase our client retention rate. So we want to have the opportunity to talk to more people who are qualified. And then we want to see our close rate increase drastically through the sales department. And then we want to have a very high retention rate. We don't want to see a client leave the company. We want to hold our clients. The Aberdeen group did a study and they found something very interesting, which perplexes me, but I can understand how it would work. What they identified is that if we can align the sales department or the sales plan, the sales process with the marketing department, the marketing plan, the marketing process, if we can align those two, then we could see up to a 32% increase in year-over-year revenue. So let's say hypothetically, if you look back in your history of your company, let's say that you're averaging a 20% return year-over-year in top-line revenue. How would you like to increase that number by 32%? So 20% times 32% gives you the delta there. If we simply align sales and marketing, the Aberdeen group found that we could experience that level of increase in our revenue. So the question becomes, how do we do it? How do we align marketing and sales? How do we align the two departments? How do we align the two plans, the processes, etc.? Well, before we answer that question on how to align, we have to know a couple of key calculating points, some metrics. We need to know these because it ultimately justifies our marketing spend. One of the first things we need to know is what is our customer lifetime value? CLV is what it's often abbreviated at if you look in business books, but what is our customer lifetime value? In other words, for the life of the customer, how much are they going to pay us? Let me give you a simple example. Let's say hypothetically that you have a customer that generates $200,000 a year of revenue for your company. Just use that as a number. And let's say the average customer stays with your company for 5 years. And let's also assume that it costs you roughly $10,000 to acquire the customer. And let's say hypothetically that it costs us roughly $1,500 a year to service the customer. If you took the $200,000 times 5, roughly $1 million, minus $10,000 minus $1,500 per year, you're looking at a customer lifetime value north of $9.9 million. So for every customer, if this was an average customer for your business, for every customer, you can say, hey, whenever we win a new customer, it's as if we just made an additional 9.9 and some change $1 million for our company. That's a customer lifetime value. But why is that important? According to the survey done by Incept, 76% of companies see customer lifetime value as an important concept for their organization. Why? They found that acquiring new customers is 5 times more expensive than retaining existing customers. Think about this. Yes, we may go out and win a new customer, and that represents a $9.9 million plus value for our firm, but it is 5 times more expensive to attract a new customer than it is to retain an existing customer. There's also some research done out of the Wharton School of Business, and they showed that roughly you have a 14 times higher likelihood of selling an existing customer some product or service, whatever your product or service is, as opposed to selling a new customer. So when we're thinking about lifetime value, we need to understand that the current customers we have in place is the gate, is the catalyst for us increasing our revenue. I'm not saying we don't market to outside customers. Of course we do. That's part of our marketing plan, and we still want to have new leads come in. But we have to understand that we're oftentimes could be throwing dollars into the black hole. If we realize that the customer lifetime value says that we can sell our product to an existing customer easier than we can sell it to a new customer, then we need to know, what is our retention rate? There's a term that's used in business called churn rate. Churn rate. Now, look, from the financial world, we're not talking about churning a product or selling one product, making a commission, and turning out selling another product. That's not the definition here. We're really looking at the churn rate. And the definition for a churn rate is this, quote, the rate at which customers stay with the business in a given period of time. So it's actually a calculation here. It's a true study. This is a true word, a true term. It's a powerful metric because it allows you to look at what is the longevity of your clients. In the financial world, it's often seen that we could see lifetime value of the customer being 5 years. That's very probable in the financial world. I have clients that I've worked with for almost 20 years. I know them. I love them. I love their families. They love me. They love my family. We're friends, but they've been together for a long time. So it's possible that in the financial world, we could see our retention rate being very, very, very low. In fact, in our previous episode, we read that the Charles Schwab study said that the median client retention rate in the financial world is 97%. We have very, very, very little attrition in our businesses. And if we exceed 97% of the retention rate, in other words, we're at 95% retention, which gets worse, or 90% retention, then something's wrong according to the industry standards. So as you look at your business and you calculate your client retention rate, let me ask you, is it above or below the 97th percentile? You know, there's many reasons why clients leave advisors. There's many reasons why, if you're not a financial advisor, you have your own business, why clients would leave your business. In the financial world, one of the biggest reasons is poor communication. In fact, 85% of clients say they would consider both their advisor's frequency and style of communication when determining if they want to work with that advisor. 85%. The frequency and the style. Another Financial Advisor magazine reports that 72% of advisors say they have clients who fired a previous advisor for poor communication. So in the financial world, it's poor communication, which can also often hurt our retention rate. Another one is perception of value. Are you communicating your value properly? 55% of investors say they believe they can achieve better returns on their own. That's a data point from research that we've been able to pull together. So what that tells me is, hey, look, we're not really communicating the value that we provide our customers, or the customers aren't perceiving the value. 55% of investors believe they can achieve better rates of return on their own, and that's according to a report done by Accenture. Another reason why customers leave is dated or lagging technology. Thought Lab found that 49% of financial firms lost customers because of the digital experience they were offering to their clients. So if you're not keeping up with technology, almost 50% of investors could potentially leave you, which hurts your retention rate. Another reason why customers leave us is because there's no personal connectivity. We've turned them into a number. MIT Age Lab, which is AIG, found that 25% of clients are willing to leave their advisor because they don't feel a personal connection with them. And if I put the shoe on the other foot, I would say that probably more than 25% of our client book, we like to let go because we don't have a personal connection with them. So I see it fits both ways. I understand that. You know, the clients that I love working with, and I love working with in my own life, are the ones that I jive with. You know, they like to hunt, they like to fish, like to garden, they like to ride four-wheelers. They're family oriented. Those are our typical clients that I just love jiving with. We like to kid each other. I like to joke and have fun. I'm pretty lighthearted. I like clients that like to joke. I have clients that call me up and they say, "What's up, my midget advisor?" And they call me a midget because I'm short. I mean, I have clients that just give me a hard time. I have one client calls me up and says, "Hey, maggot." That's his name for me, which I love. It's just, he's a good person. And I give him a hard time. I call him all sorts of fun names, but it's all in jest. But it's because we have a personal connectivity. Why does all this matter? Because if your company's retention rate is not at industry averages, not at industry standards, if you have greater churn, client churn within your business, then what happens is you're spending a ton of dollars on the front side to attract new clients, which is causing your acquisition cost to go through the roof, when in fact, if you could just simply close the back door of your business, you may have the growth that you need in order to have an 8-figure exit. There's a study done that talk about, in general business, if we can increase our customer retention rate by 5%, we could theoretically increase profits by up to 95%. There's studies that are done. We'll link all this in our show notes. But man, shutting the back door of the company often helps us on the profitability side by tying our marketing and sales team together. So let me ask you, what is your retention rate? So now that we know our customer lifetime value and now we know our retention rate, there's one more metric that we need to understand as business owners if we're trying to drive our company to an 8-figure exit. And that is this: what is your break-even analysis? Now, according to Oracle and NetSuite, a break-even analysis is a financial calculation that weighs the cost of new business, service, or product against the unit sale price to determine at what point you will break even. What does that mean? Okay. Let's say that you spend $100,000 to create a new marketing funnel. That's your cost to create the funnel. And that funnel brings in clients with $500,000 of investable assets. So you're doing top of the funnel marketing. You design a funnel. You spend $100,000 to create this funnel, and you're targeting clients that only have $500,000 investable assets. In theory, you would need to attract roughly 20 new clients to have a break-even point. Now, how do you come up with that? $500,000 earning roughly 1% is roughly $5,000 a year in income. $5,000 times 20 equals $100,000. So as you're running a break-even analysis, what you want to look at, say something like this: hey, I'm spending $100,000 on this marketing campaign. In order for me to break even, I need to generate $100,000 in income. I can do that by attracting 20 $500,000 clients, 10 $1 million clients, 5 $2 million clients, and so on. You could end up running a gamut here to determine how much new business do you need in order to break even on the cost of marketing. Okay, that seems simple. Here's the problem. Marketing does not work in a straight line. In fact, it's a J-curve. Now, go back to your business school. A J-curve looks like a J. It has a little bit of a fall, which often falls where you're losing money, and then it accelerates rapidly. J-curve. I'm reminded of a client of mine who owns a swimming pool company, and he engaged a sizable marketing firm, and the marketing firm said, look, you're going to spend 6 figures with us, but you cannot expect to break even until you are 18 to 24 months into this process. actually had this proprietor sign a contract saying that, hey, I'm going to work with you for 18 plus months. Now, why did the marketing firm do that? Well, because they knew that their industry had a significant longer than normal J curve compared to other industries. Lo and behold, the client engaged the firm, and some 18 months later, they broke even, and then everything else from that point forward was gravy, as we would call it in the South. Same is true with us in our financial world. We spend money today, and oftentimes we can't directly attribute future clients to the dollars we spend today. In my own life, I spent a ton of money on writing 2 books. Your Baby's Ugly and The Ultimate Sale. Spent a ton of money writing 2 books. We're talking 6 figures. There's no way I can look back in time and say, hey, I spent this much money and these are the clients that directly came from this dollars I spent on the book. What I can show is that after spending the dollars on the book and building the processes in the system, the company's top line revenue significantly increased. But I couldn't tie the 2 together. And the J curve of my own business was greater than a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Why does all that matter? Look, we're trying to tie your sales and your marketing teams together, your sales department, and your marketing department together, your sales plan and your marketing plan together. Many times, as we're trying to tie these together, we business owners end up being our own worst enemy because we expect instant results, especially from marketing. There's no other area of business that we scrutinize as hard as we do marketing. In fact, when times get tough, it's one of the very first things that we cut is marketing. I've seen it dozens, if not hundreds of times. So if we're trying to tie the 2, if we're trying to create synergy between the sales department and the marketing department, there's a few things we need to know. First, we have to understand the key metrics, like we just talked about, those 3 key metrics. What are your key metrics? That's the first step. The second step is you create a plan. Now, look, I've spent a ton of time talking about marketing plans. We have lots of episodes. We have lots of articles. I challenge you to take a look at the marketing plans in the blog or in the past episodes. And for sake of time, I'm not going to rehash what a marketing plan is. We just spent a ton of time talking about a sales plan or sales process manual over the last few episodes. So I'm not going to rekindle that particular fire at this point. But once you know the above metrics, you need to have both a sales plan and a marketing plan. Now, what has to be done at this point is you have to align the 2. We know that, right? Yeah, we have to align the 2. How do you align the 2? It's super simple. Super simple. It's called a feedback loop. Think about it. You're spending dollars on marketing. You know how many prospects you're communicating with. You know how many leads come through the funnel. You know how many leads your sales team talks to, and you know how many leads your sales team close. All that you simply need to do is talk to your sales department and your marketing department in unison. Hey, we're trying to attract this client, right? Marketing department? Yes, we're trying to attract this particular client persona. Cool. Sales department, are the people you're speaking with do they meet the sales persona, the client persona? Yes or no? A yes would mean that, okay, you're targeting the right people. Cool. A no would mean that your marketing and your sales are misaligned. It's as simple as that feedback loop. Okay, Justin, well, we understand that a client persona, but how do we determine that, we're spending this much dollars and we're not getting the same close rate? Well, let's go to our sales department and say, what is your close rate? Okay, is that above or below average within the industry? Perfect. If it's below average, then maybe we need to do some more nurturing on the front side. Maybe we need to increase the education level of the qualified buyer, the qualified prospect before they ever get to the sales team. That's how you align the 2. So you first create a feedback loop between your 2 departments, and you facilitate conversation to help them determine are what they're trying to communicate yielding the results that they expect. But then you go a step further. Another thing you can do is you can go to a customer survey or an experience feedback. Again, Mr. Customer, here is what we think you should fit. Here's the model. Are you married? Yes, no. If you're trying to attract married people and you keep getting no's, then something's wrong. Simple as that. So you can get a customer feedback. Is your income within this range? If it's an income range, do you have this many assets? If you're a financial advisor, are you qualified to build the pool? If you're a pool builder, whatever the data point is, you can simply ask the customer, did you meet this parameter? And then you compare it with the marketing team's plan. And then after you have your team's feedback and your customers' feedback, then you're going to actually track the metrics that we just spoke about, the metrics that we spoke about in the sales process. You're going to begin tracking those and watching those like a hawk. You ever seen a hawk watch something? I had one in my backyard watching a field mice. I just mowed the field, and we have several acres that is a field, and I knew that I hit a little mouse nest because I saw these little field mice running everywhere. And I watched a hawk swoop down and land in the top of a pine tree, a pretty red-tailed hawk. And you could watch his head spin, and he could see where each one of those mice were just bouncing around. He was watching it like a hawk, as the old saying goes. And eventually, he swooped down and got him some dinner. That's how diligent you need to be whenever you're examining your KPIs, your metrics, each of these analysis, each of these points that we've been discussing for the last few episodes. Once you're satisfied with your metrics, once you're satisfied that your marketing is leading the right customers to the right close rate, to the right conversion rate, to the right retention rate, once you're happy, this is where you bring the gasoline in, man. Like you're pouring gas on a fire, you're going to increase your spend in your marketing. It doesn't make sense to spend more on the front side if you're not tracking everything on the back side. And that's where so many business owners get frustrated. This black hole methodology that we have with marketing is we pour dollars into it, but we don't really know the results. The reason we don't know the results is we've never tied the sales processes to the marketing processes and looked at the measurements that we need to look at, as we've illustrated, not only in today's episode, but the past few. So before you go and pour tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into marketing on the front side, you better test it. You better make sure you're not pouring good dollars after bad. See, friends, if you can tie your sales department, your sales team, your marketing department, your marketing team, and everybody involved, if you can tie those together, then every data point, and I only gave you a few, there's tons of data points that we could cite here. Every data point shows that by tying them together, you can drastically improve the growth rate of your company. Now, look, if you improve the growth rate of your company, a buyer is more willing to offer a higher multiple and a higher value. We're striving for an 8-figure exit. If you want an 8-figure exit, you must tie your sales and your marketing team together. Friends, if you don't know how to do this, or if I'm speaking Russian to you or Greek to you, I say Russian. I have a friend of ours in our company that speaks Russian. I have a dear friend I was eating dinner with the other night that speaks like 5 languages, and Russian's one of them. So if you're speaking Russian like he was to me and I didn't understand a word he was saying, you need help, reach out to us. We talk with business owners all the time. We can help you. This is a simple concept, but oftentimes it just needs a little bit of guidance. This is what we do. Until next time, friends, y'all go out and make it a great day.